You need agitators, you need curious people, you need challengers. Cheerleaders look great in a short skirt, but in a business environment, you don't want them. I tried communicating with rich people in the beginning, but rich people focus on dollar signs. Now I focus on successful people.
Wow.
They focus on impact. Rich is a number on your bank account. Success is a mindset.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Wizard of Oz is in the building. Steve Sims, my man. We met a few days ago. I love the accent, love your energy. What's new with you?
Just trying stuff. I'm a great believer in failure. You know, I love to fail up, fail often. My biggest fear, and that's quite a deep question to start off with, but my biggest fear is always standing still. So I'm always trying, and some of it works and some of it fails abysmally and then tells me what went wrong, and then I try again until I get it right.
That's so relatable. I get anxiety when I'm not working, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm just standing still, my body's just too all over the place.
But we don't want to coast. When you're doing something and you're good at it, you kind of like go, okay, I got this. How can I step it up? How can I raise the bar? And I'm all about standards. What you've just succeeded at is your new standard for normality. Got to keep pushing it up. So I'm a constant grower.
Oh, absolutely. And I think with podcasters, this is kind of specific, but they have on the same type of guest and they're coasting. But I feel like as a host, you need to differentiate, have on different perspectives.
Yeah, well, you need the attention. It's a typical kind of like torching a cat. You've got to move things around to keep people's attention.
Yeah.
You keep it monotone and you keep the same guest with the same story. It's like when you go to, I don't want to pick on like the mortgage conventions, but you go to a mortgage convention. I've spoken at a bunch of those. Every year it's the same guy talking the same stuff, Nothing that we did 6 months ago is relevant to what we're doing today.
Right.
So everything changes. You got to push it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that, get into that tone, get into that tempo and go, I'm just going to sit here and put it on auto cruise. And I don't think we have an auto cruise.
No, it doesn't work. Especially these days, everything moves in it used to be years, months. Now it's like weeks.
Oh God, yeah.
With AI and stuff.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I went to an event. Well, it's always down to the old Peter Diamandis. He talks about exponential growth, and he talks about a point where you get to a point where what you learned 10 minutes before is no longer relevant. It's not a case of, right, we're going to do something with it. We don't need that anymore. And we are in that kind of position. I've heard a few people talking about apps, and then I've spoken to them like 4 months later and go, I haven't been playing with that. And they're like, don't bother. This has come out now, and we're doing this. And what we were doing over there, we're not touching that anymore. Yeah. So it's if you want to stay ahead of the game, it's a great tool, but you got to be on your toes.
Absolutely. Even with video games, because we used to play the same game for years. Now it's like you get bored after a few days.
Yeah. Well, we're in a world of instant gratification.
Yeah.
We get annoyed. I'm a little bit older than you, but I remember kind of like having to wait 3 minutes for the dial-up to connect to the internet. We get really antsy if we're not connecting, just waiting in a line at Starbucks.
Yeah.
And, we order something online, and we may have Prime, and it can come in 2 days. And we're like, 2 days? Why can't we get it this afternoon? And with the advent of drones potentially dropping stuff off on our doorstep, we're in an instant gratification, which is also why anyone that's involved in marketing and communication needs to understand the temperature of the environment, what is annoying us, what is making us happy, and what we're demanding today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I live right next to an Amazon center. I get like same hour, within 4 to 6 hours. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you just imagine if they went, thank you very much for your order, Sean. You'll get it in 3 to 5 days. You'd be pissed.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw you met your wife at 16 years old.
She was 16, I was 17, yeah.
That is very young.
That was ridiculous. Here's the dumb story. I was actually trying to go out with her mate.
Oh, yeah?
Her mate wasn't as pretty as her, and I just thought that girl was way out of my league.
Does she know this?
She knows this, yeah. That was the funny story. I don't think her mate was too happy to know that she was the ugly friend. But, Claire was just well out of my league. She's always been out of my league. And I think that's the first essence of a good relationship, knowing that you're punching above your weight. And, she's always been the one that'll be there, and she'll go, is that it? Couldn't you have done a little bit more? And you just go, damn, and you always need that person to challenge you. it's always nice to have someone in your family that supports you and is your cheerleader and goes, "Oh, great, Sean, you're great." But how does that help?
Right.
You know, it's that person that says, "Hey, I saw what you did, but you kind of went a bit tired at the end," or, "Are you okay? Because I was expecting just a little bit more rhythm out of it." And, she's that girl that just knows me so well after, 40 years or something?
Wow.
Yeah, it's 40 years. Just, I think, yeah. So, God, I never thought of it that long. But yeah, she's always been there and she's always been pushing. She's always pushed my buttons, and I am way fortunate.
I love that, man. I was actually thinking about this on the way here. When you surround yourself with too many yes men, it actually leads to the downfall of you. You see
Absolutely.
it with fighters, with music artists, businessmen. So me personally, when people just agree with everything I say, I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't keep those people around because we need to be challenging each other.
Oh, I've always said, you need agitators, you need curious people, you need challengers. Cheerleaders look great in a short skirt, but in a business environment, you don't want them.
Yeah, it's so bad because there's people that literally agree with everything you say, and obviously you don't agree with everything.
Yeah, which is why I did so well with the people that I connected with, because they are surrounded with people that aren't willing to challenge the way they think, challenge the way they act. I had a client of mine many years ago, and this was overseas in Ukraine, and I met up with him late in the day, and he had a blue suit on. But the jacket was the different blue to the trousers. And of course, like when you wake up in the morning, maybe the light's not right and you pick out it just selected the wrong trousers to the jacket. And I said to him, joking, I went, "Do you know, I guarantee you at home, you've got a matching suit to that, but in reverse." And he went, "What do you mean?" I went, "You got the wrong jacket to the trousers." And he said, "I've been in meetings all day today and no one's mentioned it." So, I think that's one of the things that did well for me in my growth was to actually connect with people as people.
Right.
And I'm not there to suck up, not there to blow smoke. I'm there to do, help, grow, agitate, aggravate, disrupt. That's my job.
Yep.
You can't do that by being a yes man.
Nope. You've been able to penetrate some of the highest social circles in the world. What was that first moment? Who was that first person you were able to talk with?
It's funny. They're obviously not as rich as the people that I ended up working with, but to give you a little bit of background, I was a broke-ass bricklayer in East London, and I didn't like it. Who likes being broke? Now, we didn't have Instagram to show us how inadequate our lives was, but I knew deep inside that there was something else. So I went out to try and find what rich people did, where they spent that money, how they spent that time. And again, notice the word rich, and I use that for a specific, and we'll come around to that in a second. I tried getting jobs in insurance, yacht charters, jet charters, jewelry, security, anything that would surround me with rich people. Failed at them all. I even went for a stockbroker's job in Hong Kong, lasted one day. Ended up getting a job in a nightclub because, I'm big and ugly and scary, so it was a perfect job
Bouncer.
for me. Yeah. But it got me a PhD in human psychology. And I suddenly started noticing how people with money act and how people that pretend they have money act.
Right.
You've seen it. You've been around people. I went
Flexers.
to your party the other week. So, we can all see those that are like growing and they're on their stepping stones and those that are comfortably there.
Right.
And how they also gravitate to each other. And I just started trying to connect with those people that I thought, I want to be with you. Give you an example. You're on the door, guys walking into a nightclub, okay? And if you can just see the edge of the watch, I would say to someone, "Oh, it's an interesting watch. What you got there?" And the guy would go, "Oh, it's a so-and-so," And then you get someone else that would walk in. They'd have a jacket on, but they'd have one sleeve pulled up so you could see the watch,
Yeah.
Just little things like that. And I would still say to them, "You got a nice watch there. What's that?" And they would go, "This is $45,000. It's a limited," and I didn't ask how much it was. But it was a funny way that I was able to start working out, okay, how do people act and interact with each other? The guy pulling up in the car that just wants everyone to check him out, or the guy pulling up in the car and being really nice to the valet guy. You could just pick up on those differences.
Yeah.
I started recognizing that I didn't want to become the Mr. Fix-It. I didn't want to become, the connected guy. I just wanted to have a conversation. So I had to be of value to those people. So I'd focus on a couple of people in the club and I'd be like, "Hey, you going to that party on Thursday?" And they'd be like, "No, I didn't know." And all I could get was parties because I was the doorman. I knew where the clubs were. I knew where the parties were. And I'd be like, let me see if I can help you. And I'd get them into the party. And of course, then I'm of value. You know, before Google, I'm the guy you go to find out where's the hot parties this week.
Right.
So it grew from there. And I went from getting people into private parties or closing bars down at midnight so they could stay in afterwards to ending up working for the biggest events in the planet. You know, I worked for Ferrari Formula One in Monaco, worked for Elton John's Oscar party for 8 years.
Wow.
So, you know, some of the biggest events and everything in between, from Victoria's Secrets to the Emmys, you know, all over the place. Any award, I'll be arrogant, any award, sporting event in the planet, from Macau to Stade, I had my fingers in it.
Incredible.
Did that for like 25 years, but we always classed it as a Trojan horse. You wanted to go to an event. You wanted to go and, you know, play drums with Guns N' Roses. You wanted to go and sing on stage with your favorite rock star. Mm-hmm. You wanted to do whatever it was. If I could make that happen, then I had your attention the following few days to go, hey, Sean, did you enjoy, you know, hanging out with Elton John the other week? And I'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, hey, I've been meaning to ask you, how do you look at investments? And I was podcasting before podcasting came along. And that's what it was. I just wanted the interview. Didn't really care about this stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm still an ugly biker from East London, but now I just live in LA. But I'm always on a motorbike. Not exactly got the kind of like warm, fuzzy, hey, come and hug me look.
Yeah.
But my job was always kind of like, hey, give this to you so I could talk to you over here. And just circling back to complete this, I tried communicating with rich people in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Well, rich people focus on dollar signs. Mm. Now I focus on successful people.
Wow.
They focus on impact. And so I learned that along the way that, you know, rich is a number on your bank account, but success is a mindset. And that was how it kind of came through.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference.
Massive difference. Huge difference.
Yeah, rich people just focus on money.
You're 100%. I'll give you an argument. You know, so if I come up to you and I go, Sean, hey, how rich are you? You know, and I want to ask you, how did you become rich? And tell me about you being. It's going to back you up. It's like talking about your sexual preferences, your religion, your family. You know, it's kind of, whoa, that's private. You know, I don't want to, because it's a number.
Yeah.
You know, how rich are you? Well, this is my portfolio. But if I say to you, hey, Sean, you know, what do you think of success? Why do you think you're successful? And so many people are not. Mm. Now, those successful people, they go, I'll tell you why.
Right.
It's down to how they value time. It's down to how they. So I started trying to communicate with successful people, not wealthy, not rich, successful.
Right. And you were able to work your way all the way up to Elon Musk.
Yeah. Worked with Peter Diamandis that introduced me to Elon Musk. Peter Diamandis is the guy behind the X Prize. Mm-hmm. And so it was always stepping stones. You know, I worked with Elton John. I worked with Andrea Bocelli, worked with Richard Branson, you know. So the daft thing is I've worked with richer and more powerful people in the planet that you've just never heard of,
right.
You know? And I was traveling all around the world seeing these people, and it was very interesting to just meet with people that had that amount of power in their own country. But then they'd go to another environment, and they were the unknown kid.
No one knew them. The oil money, right?
We had oil money. We had tycoons. We had one of my clients in Russia was the largest owner of shopping malls in Russia. Now, think about the size of Russia. Think about a shopping mall, how large they are. And he had more shopping malls than anyone else. So it was just that kind of... But, hey, I remember walking down Hollywood Boulevard with him. No one knew who this guy was. We had security, you know, 2 steps in front, 2 steps behind. But no one knew who this guy was.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting, the kind of people that I got to work with.
Super interesting. And being surrounded by these people, is that a lifestyle you craved from there, or did you find comfort in where you were at?
No, I'm the dullest person on the planet. Everyone kind of like, oh, you know, you get to do it. I live vicariously through my clients. You know, I've got to hang out in palaces and in penthouses and in the Vatican. You know, so I've had all of that. But for me, I like to adopt dogs, ride around on motorcycles with my wife, drink coffee, drink a good old-fashioned at a bar. You know, I'm really low-key on that kind of stuff, you know. And it's funny, near the end of my career, I was starting to get more and more outed as the man that can. And it's funny because you think getting media is great. You know, everyone wants media. Who doesn't, you know? But I was getting the New York Post, and I was getting the Wall Street Journal, and I was getting Forbes, and the Robb Report wrote an article, and Forbes wrote like an 8-page article on me.
Dang.
Yeah, exactly. And this was, I think, like 15 years ago when,
When they were
people
actually
cared.
Forbes, yeah.
Yeah, when they were Forbes.
Now you can just pay to get on there.
Yeah, exactly. I had all of this media and I lost about 60% of my business within a month.
Wow.
Because all of a sudden, all of these people were like, well, look, Steve, congratulations, but I can't really work with you anymore because everyone knows you're the man, And I was like, And now I'm getting these egotistical pricks coming along going, oh, yeah, I need my photo with Elton John, or, yeah, I need to meet Warren Buffett, or I need to kind of like go and hang out down here in Monaco. And I was dealing with ego, whereas before I was dealing with people that just wanted to experience things. And it was a different kind of clientele. And I'll be completely blunt with you. I actually went through, like all entrepreneurs, your financial cycles like this. I went off the cliff. My income just dropped. And then thanks to Tucker Max, who I was hanging out with yesterday, he got me a book deal with Simon & Schuster. And I released my first book, Bluefishing. And all of a sudden, people are like, hang on, can you speak on how to communicate? Can you speak on how to brand? Can you speak on how to create an identity? Focus on your unicorn, And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay. And I didn't know what I was doing. And we were talking about earlier, entrepreneur's mantra is, the first time you try anything, it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I started doing training programs and coaching and, learning my way along from there. But yeah, media.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
Kicked me in the.
Incredible. And now you're speaking on the biggest stages because of all that. It's like a snowball effect almost.
It was weird. It sent me off into a realm. And the funny thing was, when I got the book deal through Simon & Schuster, I front-loaded it. And for anyone that doesn't know much about the publishing world, you either get paid on how many books you sell, or you can front-load it, get a larger number, and not get so much on the residuals. I pushed for the front end because I thought no one's going to buy this. Who the hell's going to listen to like a bricklayer from London on what he did with, the Vatican or whatever?
Right.
And it took off. It got translated into a ton of different languages. And you're right. All of a sudden, I'm being flown all over the planet. Like last year, we were Marbella, London, Spain, Venice. I was going to say Phuket, but that was the year before. And literally all over America, Canada, and Mexico.
Beautiful.
Just on giving speeches and talking to major corporations on what is daft, how to communicate. And the downside is that if you're listening about communication advice from an East London biker, the world must be in a pretty state of communication. But hey, I'm there to shake you up and tell you how you should be doing it.
I see it with my generation. What are some common communication mistakes you see on a daily basis right now?
Well, gladly, you're not making them. And the first one's eye contact. A lot of people are scared to make eye contact. It's the classic thing. You go into Starbucks, someone orders that drink, takes a step, and immediately they grab that phone. Because the idea of you being in silence for 3 minutes while you wait for your, caffe frappe lap or whatever it is, is beyond someone. So they can't stay still. A lot of the time, people can't engage in a conversation. Now, it's your business, it's your industry, and you focused on it. But, a lot of the time, you'll go and speak to someone, and I'd love to turn around and go, Sean, it's your generation. But it's not. It's the environment. So a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 30-year-old has lost the ability to communicate and are getting frightened to it. The older community are getting frightened to communicate because they don't want to say the wrong thing, so they're not talking. The younger generation, oh, well, I'm not saying anything because, what's the point of a conversation? I'm on my phone. So we're in between. We're just so many different environments are causing us to lose the ability to be able to go, hey, Sean, how's your day going?
Right.
How's your business going? Like we were chatting before about business, and at a convention we were at last week, we were having a conversation. But so many people are fighting to do that now. And again, because of the transactional society that we are in with the instant gratification, people are like, well, if I don't know everything now, I don't want to search for it. And the way to search for it is to have a conversation on what makes you feel the way you do. Yeah. So I'll avoid that.
Yeah.
I'll avoid it completely. And let's be serious, amplified that.
For sure.
We went through a society where people not only weren't communicating, but was losing the muscle to communicate. And when we came out of people were really bad at talking to each other.
I even felt it a little bit, honestly.
We all did. But it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And so, there were a lot of people. I don't know if you heard this one. Did you hear of social hangover?
Social hangover, no.
They were, when you're in a social environment, got nothing to do with drink, just the conversation would make you go home tired.
Oh, that was me yesterday.
They call it a social hangover. Never existed before.
Oh.
But now they're saying, because we didn't have it, now we're in an environment, we're going, Johnny, hey, Bob, I haven't seen you for, Malcolm, come on. Malcolm, I want you to meet Sean. We didn't have that for 2.5 years.
Wow.
So it was actually something that we took for granted. And of course, I don't want to get on a soapbox, but during we came up with two toxic societies, the cancel culture and the gotcha society. And all of a sudden, people are out there searching the internet to find out what you did in 1992 to go, look at this person.
Yeah.
He made that statement about penguins. Let's cancel his business. And we went out in that kind of world.
Old tweets, old Facebook posts.
Well, the trouble is today we are hellishly fast to judge and really slow to listen. So the court of public opinion is, they said that about Sean, must be true. I'm not going to listen to him anymore.
Yeah.
Whether it's fact or not. And the trouble is, a lot of the time, people can't get back from that because once the public have made their opinion, depending on what industry you're in, once they've made their opinion, you've already been found guilty, regardless.
Social media makes it pretty easy to judge people. I try my hardest not to judge someone until I've physically met them.
Oh, yeah.
But prior to that mindset years ago, it was definitely easy to form opinions on someone just seeing their Instagram or whatever.
Absolutely. One of the things I do is I go to prison a lot with a fantastic group called Defy Ventures. And we go to a maximum security level 4 prison. And I take entrepreneurs in there. It's all for charity. I think I've taken about 200 entrepreneurs over a period of like 6 years. And we go in and we're speaking to lifers, gang members, people that have had violent crimes. And we're having a conversation to find out something that we can find relatable. Now, you may find someone that, is not someone that you want to be meeting and hanging around with.
Right.
But you've got a connection over vintage cars. And if you can find the relatable aspect in any person, then you can connect. And at the end of the day, aren't we pack animals? Don't we want to connect with like-minded individuals? You threw a great party the other night, and I walked into that room, and it was a buzz because you had curated that room. Everyone was the same kind of pack animal. So it made it really easy for me to be able to go, why are you here? Oh, I'm here because instant connection.
Right.
Instant because you'd curate it. We're pack animals. We've got to find out how to connect, and we've got to train ourselves to want to care, to want to give a damn.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of prison, you interviewed Sammy the Bull.
I did.
I need to hear about that. Were you nervous going into that one?
I wasn't. Let's just say that some of my clients have been interesting over the years.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had some experiences in different places. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to interview people that interest me, and I want to go, why did you do that? I had the #1 requested prostitute on a show. And I like to just interview different people, gang members, bikers, marketing people, priests, all different people. And I had Sammy on there, and I was like, look, let's look back now. Now he's an old fella, but you can he's still got some kind of like fire in those eyes.
Right.
And, I said to him, look, let's go back. And it all came down, and we did 2 interviews. It all came down to the fact that, hey, no one ever got, shall we say, messed with that hadn't chosen to be in that sandpit. So they weren't going out just trying to find the public. So it wasn't free reign violence. Oh, look at that person over there. And he used to say that anyone walking down our streets was safe.
Wow.
Absolutely safe, because they knew that there was no trouble, But hey, if you decided to make that world your life and you stepped out of line, and he said the only way you ever stepped out of line was respect. If you wanted something to be done, you went and saw the people that could give you the nod. And if you got the green light, then you had the respect, and then you could go and make it happen. But if you were freewheeling and going off and, when people started clashing, and that's when respect went out the window. And it was really kind of painful and disturbing that the number one thing we were talking about is one of the things that we're losing today.
Respect.
And it's respect. Well, it's respect and it's consequence. You see, again, I lived in East London. He's up in New York. If you messed with the wrong person, and I was a young mouthy lad, and I'd walk into a bar, I'd say something to the wrong person. I knew I said it, not because they sent me a bad tweet or they sent me a bad message, but because they'd smack my nose in.
Yeah.
All right? I knew I'd said the wrong thing. And then it'd be a case of, I am so sorry. And again, you had a conversation to clear the air so you could carry on with the rest of your life. But how many people wake up in the morning, they're flicking through Instagram or whatever, they see someone wearing a yellow hoodie, and they go, well, he looks stupid in that. Push send, and then they go about their day forgetting that they may have upset you about your new hoodie.
Yeah.
They have no idea about the consequences of what they did. And so many people, I call them poor people, poor attitude, poor mindset. They just have this ability. And poor people, they're really loud. And if you want to cancel me for saying that, knock yourself out. But the bottom line of it is they will get in there. They want to trigger people because they are either bitter or annoyed for you having a successful show or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll make a flippant, rude comment from behind a screen knowing that you can't get anywhere near them.
Some people love to instigate arguments, and I actually used to be like this, and it's a terrible mindset. Some people just love to argue. They won't even care about what they're arguing about. They just want attention.
Yeah. Bingo. There we go. We're back to the pack animal. We all want to belong, and to belong, we've got to be connected. And if that connection is in negativity, look at the people that have shot at your John Lennon's, killer. Did it because he wanted the attention. He wanted the connection.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing it, and that's obviously an extreme version. But today, any attention, as far as they're concerned, is good attention.
Yep.
And if they can get in, now they're down here, and your standards are up here. But hey, if they can say something that gets you into a conversation, they're like, I'm bringing myself up. No, you're not. You're still a prick. You should have said it in the first place. But, people today do like to try to get into an attention situation, good or bad. And it's the old kind of like, no such thing as bad media. I'm not sure I believe that.
I don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that.
No.
But I think today people need to start realizing that we are a connection society. And if we choose to actually ignore that, not AI, not the government, that's going to be the downfall of our society.
Absolutely. You've talked a lot about connection, belonging to a pack. When it comes to nurturing relationships, you've had some friendships for 20, 30 years. What are some tips for nurturing relationships?
So there's a speech I give on the sequoia tree. And I show a big picture up on the screen. I go, hey, can anyone tell me what this is? And they go, big ass tree. And it's the sequoia tree. It's the largest tree in the planet. And it's so large, they can actually cut a hole in it for the bus to go through.
Wow.
We've all seen these pictures up in Yellowstone Park. And it's huge. Doesn't need watering, doesn't need looking after. It's just powerful. But it all starts off with a seed that's like smaller than, a fingernail.
Mm-hmm.
When that seed goes in the ground, you need to make sure it's the right ground. It's got the right nutrients around it. It's watered appropriately. Not too much. You don't want to drown it. You've got to look after that. You've got to nurture it. You've got to pay attention to it. And then when it breaks soil, if it breaks soil, you've got to make sure your dog does on it. So you've got to make sure everything's covered around and you've got to crop it. And you've got to pay attention until it's at a point where you don't have to pay attention to it too much. That's the same with relationships. We can all phone someone up that we've known for 20 years and within a second be back where we were when we first met them and having a real deep conversation.
Right.
I mean, with a friend of mine tonight that, I don't get to see very often, but because we spend time so much in the early stages of our relationship, popping into town, it's a great thing to meet up again. But a lot of people today, they go to an event, like the event we were at the other day, they get someone's business card, they don't see them for a year, and then they go, hey, it's my buddy Sean. These aren't relationships. These aren't friendships. These are acquaintances.
Right.
And if you want to turn that acquaintance into a relationship, you've got to nurture the soil. You know, what can I, like I said to you, when we sat down and we started talking, and I said to you, hey, I appreciate being here. If I got a connection that you need, let me know. I offered you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know, and there was no strings attached because I want to give value to you because I'm getting to be on your cool show. You know, a lot of people look at it in the eye game. You know, what's in it for me? I want this. I want that. You know, I want a picture with this. I want to be on a podcast. I want to be publicized. You need to start looking at what can it be for you? What's the benefit? So people need to start focusing on how can I bring you value in order to start that nurturing process.
Yeah. And that's why I think my show was successful, because a lot of my guests, I was just providing value, not asking for So then when it came to them coming on the show, it was a yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we already spoke about, you know, Damon John, Perry Belcher. I know you got Custom Haslam coming on. So great people want to be part of it because of that attitude.
Absolutely. Steve, it's been a blast, man. Where can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
Oh, I'm really easy. I am at Steve D. Sims. There's only one M in Sims, and don't forget D for dashing. SteveDSims.com or any social, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, Steve D. Sims. And if you want to reach out to me on Instagram and let me know that you heard me on this fantastic show, do it, and then we can chat.
Let's do it. Thanks for coming on, my man.
Appreciate it. Cheers, bud.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, guys, as always, and we'll see you tomorrow.